Pocket Gamer's Top 5 Mobile Games of 2020. The Pathless is quite possibly one of Apple Arcade's biggest releases ever. You play the role of a hunter who heads to an island to destroy an evil and save the world. She's accompanied only by her bow and a hawk who she meets along the way and can help her to travel to different locations. Though it's available on console and PC as well, the Pathless plays beautifully on mobile. The combat is crazy satisfying. Firing arrows at enemies and objects feels direct and fluid. You can move at your own pace, strolling around and quietly exploring, or charge your sprint meter to glide through the world. The island is gorgeous, filled with lush green forests, and the game's mystique makes the world that much more intriguing to explore. It's broad and it's satisfying and it fits the form factor brilliantly, and yeah, one of the best of the year. We had a feeling this one was going to be great, but maybe not as great as it actually was. Slay the Spire was already being talked about in reverential tones well before it arrived on iOS. This is a roguelike card battler of uncommon depth and balance, with a bewildering array of tactical possibilities. Your deck can expand in both good and bad ways depending on the events you choose to play, with curses as well as buffs a very real possibility. It's about learning patterns, choosing how to focus your deck to create a combat strategy. The mobile version didn't arrive in perfect condition, with a UI that didn't seem quite as well attuned as it should be, but we very quickly made the adjustment. As it stands now, if this isn't the finest game of its kind on mobile, we don't know what is. Playing Genshin Impact for free almost feels like we're stealing. Over the years, we've played hundreds and hundreds of free-to-play mobile games, and we're used to being immediately bombarded with microtransaction discounts from the word go. And it's not that Genshin Impact isn't a gacha game, it is. You need items to upgrade weapons, and there are different currencies you can use to buy gacha pulls. But more than almost any of this type of game, that stuff is in the background, leaving you to focus on the game itself, the world you're exploring, the combos and elemental reactions you need to use to tear your enemies apart. And all of that looks and feels better on mobile than we think anyone expected. It definitely borrows from Breath of the Wild in style and mechanics, but the quests are more linear. You build a team of characters who play very differently from one another. And when the grind kicks in, it's still somehow fun, even if you haven't paid a penny. There are some who'll turn up their nose at the very idea of a free-to-play game, and we get it, and this one does have its flaws, but it's also a really impressive achievement, and surprisingly worth your time. Technically, Among Us has been around since 2018, but 2020 was the year it conquered the world. I don't know, maybe there's something about being trapped in one place, unable to escape or even go outside without potentially dying, while an invisible threat picks you and your friends off one by one that just seems so relatable. Whatever the reason, this sci-fi paranoia sim all about flushing your probably innocent friends out of airlocks while the real killer quietly adds your name to their hit list probably destroyed as many friendships as it created. But it also generated a whole load of fun and evil laughter in the process. It's not flashy, it's not got a AAA budget, but it captured everybody's imagination. Factor in that you can play it on pretty much anything, and what you have is a much needed social release in a year of enforced isolation. Given that a lot of us have been trapped inside this year, perhaps it's no surprise that sneaky Sasquatch has proved such a big hit. You get to wander around a park at your leisure, avoid the campers, hide from the warden, and raid picnic baskets like a scruffy Yogi Bear. Though there are missions involving feeding bears and scaring the locals and even kart racing, it's the relaxed open-world sandbox that lets you stumble upon hidden treasures, conspire with a fox in a bush, or just go for a stroll in a river. Why not? Who's going to stop you? It's proved insanely popular on Apple Arcade, and it stayed on our phones throughout the year for those quiet moments when you really want to scarf down a half-day-old sausage in the grossest way possible. Those are our favourite games of 2020. If yours didn't appear in the list, chuck it in the comments below. We're always keen to see what everyone is playing. We're going to be back in 2021 to bring you all the best mobile news, reviews, and recommendations. So do hit that subscribe button and we will see you in the new year.